Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the latest edition of HTFC, the home of football, here on the Hitting the Field Network. I am your host, Edgar Rodriguez.
And I'm Patrick Deleon, and we've got a very fun show. We've got Danny joining us once again.
Welcome
we've got
back.
Champions League, a whole recap of round of 16, how those games went. And we have a very fun surprise segment at the end, which I'm super excited to get into.
I guess we do, but keep that under the covers for now.
Yes. But to kick things off, what are you wearing, Edgar?
I am wearing the 2016-17 Arsenal away kit, and you might be wondering, why'd you get this one? Well, if you can Google it, YouTube it. West Ham United 1, Arsenal 5. Alexis Sanchez, who's sort of still on the back of this shirt. It's an old one, I'm telling you. Scored a hat trick that game, and I fell in love with it. So that's my little story. Yours came from thousands of miles away.
Yes, quite literally. I went to Osaka. So this is my team in Japan, my favorite team. So Seda's Osaka. So again, this is the goalkeeper shirt.
What?
But I didn't know that. I still bought it though because I think it looks really nice.
It doesn't look like a goalkeeper.
No. I have two other of their shirts and they're both pink anyway. So it's like let's mix it up a little bit. So I bought it. So this is like truly made and authentic straight from Japan. So
and then Danny V, you're changing it up this week.
Yeah,
yes, you are.
Instead of wearing the traditional Real Madrid shirt that I usually wing in, this time I decided let's go with something different. I got this El Salvador shirt from the El Salvador national team. My father's from El Salvador, and they're from part of Salvadorians, so got to represent my home nationality.
I didn't know that, so that makes me like you a lot more already.
El Salvador uniting on that side.
I mean, yes, I have this shirt too, but it's back at home, so I don't have it up here. So that's why I haven't worn it yet, actually.
It's an excuse.
But let's get started. Champions League. What's first on the agenda?
Round of 16 second legs. Wow. I mean, this past week, so much drama, so much chaos. And we're going to start at the Montjuic. Barca 3, Benfica 1.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the main thing that sticks out about this game, Lamine Yamal. Oh my goodness. Yeah. One of the goals of the tournament so far. And really, Benfica, yes, they made it 1-1. Otamendi from a corner with the header. But they were really never in this tie.
No, especially after that. I mean, they took Barcelona took a 1-0 win away over in Portugal. So they come back at home. They're deadly at home. And, I mean, they just finished it off. They dominated 20 shots, 65% possession.
Absolutely.
Total domination for Barcelona. I don't think anybody had a real doubt that they were going to go through on this one. Especially Lamine Yamal. Oh, my God.
Oh, I mean,
it makes me feel bad because he's 17. I'm 20.
I mean, imagine when he hits his peak. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. We speak about Yamal, Danny, but Rafinha brace, and he continues to make a case for Ballon d'Or this season.
Yes, he does.
Absolutely. So, 3-1, Barca through. Let's move our attentions to... Oh, do you still want to...
So Barcelona
go ahead.
now,
go ahead.
Because they advance, obviously, they're going to be playing against Dortmund.
Speaking of Germany,
so
there you go.
I don't have a lot of hope for Dortmund, but we'll get into that at a later time.
We'll speak about Dortmund a little later, and we'll talk about that potential matchup. But let's stick on that German theme because Leverkusen against Bayern. Now, 3-0 Bayern at the end of the first leg, it was kind of done, right? It was done, and especially, talk about rubbing salt in the wounds, Wirtz was out for the second leg.
Yeah.
And so Leverkusen were down and out, and this just made it worse. Kane and Davies putting this to bed.
Of course. And I mean, like we've said before, you brought the stat up a couple of weeks ago. Bayern have never beaten the Leverkusen side managed by Xabi Alonso.
They put that to bed.
Look at this. Total a clean sheet across both legs, 5-0.
Champions League is different for Bayern. They just turn into an absolute animal. Kane goal and assist that will serve him well moving into the next round. Danny V, no surprises here. I mean, we thought Leverkusen had a chance, but Bayern just put that, to bed.
I mean, I did think that Bayern was going to win this one, but I initially thought going into this game that Leverkusen would at least put up a little bit of a fight. But 0 goals at all. I mean, that's kind of sad.
Very surprising. It's not something we're used to from Leverkusen.
No, but again, I mean, Champions League, it just awakens something in Bayern. Yes. And they are through. As we were talking about the quarterfinals, they have a very interesting matchup against Inter Milan. Again, we'll speak on that very soon, but that match, I mean, wow. I think that's one of the more intriguing ones heading into the quarterfinals. Sure. Speaking of, look at that, just like magic, Inter Milan against Feyenoord.
Yeah.
I think the main, the MVP, if you will, of this tie was Marcus Thuram. I mean, he scored that golazo in the Netherlands, just showing his hunger, his determination to get to the end of that
Had
cross.
a really good year.
He scored in the 8th minute of this one, and 3-0 on aggregate was just way too much for Robin van Persie's favor.
I don't think anybody's also surprised by this result.
No,
I
not
think
at
we
all.
all know the form that Inter Milan is in right now.
Yeah.
They're almost unstoppable. Now I think they're with a shock result, I would say, later on. I think these guys are the spearhead of potentially winning the Champions
You
League
say
this
shock?
year.
Would it be a shock? I mean, okay, Bayern are probably favored, but I don't know.
We'll have to see.
Inter
No.
are monsters.
Sorry, I didn't mean this game as a shock, but like another particular game we're going to talk about.
Oh,
It was a shock result, which puts Inter Milan in that position of real
Gotcha.
contenders here.
Connecting
if that
the
makes
dots.
sense.
I got you.
Which literally is going to be the next one that we talk about anyway.
It will, but
So,
before we move on, like you said, you
Yeah.
touched on it, Danny V. Inter are one of the favorites for this tournament. We saw them reach the final 2 years ago against City. Unfortunate 1-0 loss.
Yeah,
I mean,
very
they
close.
took them to the end. But Inter are once again fighting for this title.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. They do have a great chance of winning on, especially they win their next match. They could potentially make it all.
Absolutely.
think so.
Absolutely. But as you alluded to, my goodness, at Anfield, who would have seen this coming?
Man.
Liverpool.
Man,
Lose
man.
1-0. That Dembele goal in the first half. Mix up at the back between Kanate and Alisson. Miscommunication. Dembele just followed the ball.
That's all it took.
That's
That
all
is
it took.
all it took.
Liverpool hit the post twice in the second half. The ball almost trickling in. It just didn't happen for them on the night. And then on penalties, 4-1 PSG. I mean, Liverpool's penalties, though.
stinkers.
Darwin Nunez.
I
I
mean, are we surprised?
no,
Darwin
we're not.
Nunez.
We're not, but that
But it's
penalty,
like, come
put some
on.
more on it. You
Come
know what I'm saying?
on, like-
Curtis Jones as well, not the best
Nah.
penalty. Donnarumma in goal.
This is a game that they're gonna be stuck on for a while.
Oh
I
my
think.
gosh, yeah.
Like trauma, because I feel like they finished first in the league standings before heading into the knockout rounds,
Absolutely.
and they lose to PSG in this manner. No, that's not
over the two legs, you can't even say PSG got lucky. I mean, in Paris, if anything, Liverpool got lucky to take a 1-0 lead into the second leg.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was.
goodness.
This was a result I was not expecting,
No.
and
Not
but
whatsoever.
what is this talk? Let's shed some positivity on PSG for a
No,
moment.
of course. They deserve it. They deserve it. As much as we are reluctant to, they deserve it.
They do, because that is no easy task. This is probably the hardest draw they could have got, and they walked away
And
victorious.
And
So,
and the score, I mean, it looks closer than it really was. I mean, I think one stat that's not on the screen that really, puts it all into perspective. In the first leg, Alisson made 9 saves. He was man of the match.
yeah.
This second leg, he made 7 saves. I mean, if
Yeah.
Alisson is getting forced into 16 saves over the 2 legs, I mean, that tells you all you need to know about Liverpool. They were not up to it. They were not up to it. They were giving balls away in the midfield that we have not seen this season from Liverpool. PSG are through, which is unbelievable. And once again, we've said it before, Dembele having an incredible 2025.
Yeah. So let's move on from that. We've got
Let's do
Aston
that.
Villa, Club Brugge up next. I guess
Oof.
a result that I think a tie that I thought was gonna go more close.
Were you wrong,
But
Patrick?
I
You were
was
You were
wrong. Aston Villa total domination across both legs.
Oh, 100%. And we warned, right, Bruges about Villa's new signings.
Yeah,
and Asensio,
Asensio.
3 goals over these 2 games. Matson as well. But I think it was over. I mean, Villa went to Belgium 3-1 win, excuse me. 3-0 in the return leg. I mean, Villa Park, it's a difficult place to go, especially if you're down in Bruges. I mean, look at the expected goals, 0.12. They were just not in the game at all at any point.
No. So I guess this is not a result that most people are shocked by. I was just hoping more from Bruges, but it is what it is. It's a Premier League side, very
is.
hard to play against.
It is. And next up, my goodness. If we
Probably
thought
one of the biggest games.
If we
of
thought
this round.
Liverpool PSG was intriguing, Villa PSG is going to be insane, man. Because
Villa, you're right. Villa PSG
Villa
will
PSG
be.
in the quarterfinals, and it's going to be the second time Villa face a Premier League opponent. So it's going to be interesting. Let's move on though.
Yeah.
Because Lille against Dortmund is next, I believe.
No,
or
it
no,
was-
Arsenal.
we're gonna-
Arsenal.
We got to go back a little bit. It was Madrid Atletico.
Oh,
Madrid Atletico. That's probably
that's next.
biggest.
Sorry.
that's the
That's
second.
probably the biggest game of this round besides PSG
Exactly.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it
A
lived
lot
up to
to
the hype.
unpack.
It definitely did.
lived up to the hype. The first leg was a little cagey. The first leg which we kind of expected. Both teams didn't want to give much away. But this second leg, first minute Gallagher with the goal.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
My goodness. That Asensio clearance went nowhere.
Nowhere.
And Atleti, 30 seconds in.
Pick it up.
1-0, and you think, okay, are they going to push for the 2-0? Are they going to, continue that momentum? We see how they play at home, right?
Yeah.
They invite the pressure. They are completely fine. We see 791 passes from Real Madrid. That tells you, again, the
Vinny
story.
skying a penalty, too, as well.
That was a huge moment.
But the talking point here,
Yeah.
penalty shootout.
Penalty shootout. Now, we'll get to that more in the second segment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madrid did go through, but there's some controversy here that we'll, again, dive into in the next segment.
Let's preview that.
Yeah.
Danny V, what do you think about that double touch?
Double touch.
I definitely do think it was a double touch. However, let me just finish this.
Yeah.
There should be some more clarification on the rules, and definitely needs to be some adjustments.
Absolutely.
For sure. So that's something we'll dive into
Yes, we
momentarily. But yes, Real Madrid, they still go through. Atletico, they still missed a couple other pens regardless of whether that would have changed anything. We'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But that was a great matchup anyway. So let's move on to Arsenal PSV.
Yes.
Your Arsenal.
So we don't, well, we do actually, yes. So, look, 7-1 after the first leg. Arteta made multiple changes for this one. We saw Tierney at left wing. We saw Sterling start. 2 assists for Raheem Sterling. So, okay, we've been harsh on him. Thank you. Raheem Sterling showing up. But yeah, 9-3 on aggregate. We cruised through.
Yeah, I don't feel like, not much to say on this one. I think it speaks for itself.
It was over before it started.
Yeah, Arsenal was, of course, one of the best teams, so I definitely do think that they at least they definitely won it, and they should have won it as well.
Yeah, for sure. And 7-1, right, after the first leg.
That's right.
What are we doing here? It's like PSV. Come on, I was expecting it to be a lot closer.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on.
Last one.
To the last one. Now.
Last one. Lille Dortmund. Now.
Lille Dortmund. Yes.
After the first leg, Dortmund were probably looking at it and saying, okay, we probably should have won. But in France, Lille scoring first, Jonathan David with the early goal, and then Dortmund with the 2 second-half goals, Emre Can with the penalty, and then Bayer with the game winner. And Dortmund are through. They booked their spot, and we'll play Barca in the quarterfinals.
Yes, so it's gonna be a hard test, I think. Dortmund, I like Dortmund. The Champions League, that's been their only good thing going this season. Bundesliga is a disaster.
Yeah.
But now they had to play Barcelona, and Barcelona are really, really hot as well.
That's going to be tough.
So I'm not feeling confident on that one for them.
It might be the end of the road.
Lille had to put up a fight at home, but Dortmund still managed to get it done. So 3-2 on aggregate. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we have to wait almost a month for the quarterfinals. We have to wait until April 8th, the week of April 8th and 9th for the quarterfinals. But
any final thoughts, Danny, on all these matchups? Anything you'd like to say?
You're facing the mighty Arsenal in the quarterfinals.
Oh, yeah.
True.
And
Madrid, yes.
That's going to be
that
huge.
Champions League, still one of the best things about football and everything with this. So I definitely love how it is.
All right, Brian. All right, you're gonna wait and see when you come to the Emirates.
Yeah, that of course
That's
is.
right. That's right.
Look at him over there. They're taunting you, Edgar.
I'm telling you, we'll stay quiet in our corner. But that is about all the time we have for the first segment. Danny B, thank you so much for coming back on. Stay tuned. Patrick and I are gonna go head to head on some incredibly. How do I even say this? Controversial topic. Stay tuned.
Hello. So I guess the crew's getting ready for the next segment on one of our amazing shows. I'm Nick Cohen, host of season 20 of Hitting the Field, and let me tell you about those amazing shows. On behalf of HTF, we hope you're enjoying today's content, but I'm here to tell you about everything else we offer here at the network. Mondays at 4, HTF Bets goes live for season 10 with 3 gamblers that, although it may not always seem like it, are here to help us all earn a little bit of extra money while we watch sports. Diego Ortiz, Tyler Brownrigg, and Andrew Gregg's ball knowledge and fun personalities make this show a fan favorite. On Tuesdays, you all loved it, so we brought it back for season 2. It's Girls Got Game, hosted by Frankie Noble, a show blending women in sports, the biggest sports news stories, and creative segments that make for a fun and engaging show. Next is everyone's favorite sports podcast, The Combine, hosted by who other than Ty Patton, an easygoing, conversational, and technical podcast dropping Wednesdays, also on Spotify at The Combine. Then tune in Thursdays at noon for the network's main show, Season 20 of Hitting the Field, hosted by me. Here, we'll cover any sport, any topic, any story, no matter how obscure. We love some football, basketball, hockey, F1. We also cover baseball, soccer, and we even have to show the UFC love sometimes. Penultimately, TGIF, because Friday is nighttime, hosted by Kathleen Moore and Matthew Bracker. Season 8 of Nighttime is where you'll turn to for all things March Madness, UCF sports, and other collegiate events. We're ending with something brand new. HTFN has never had 6 shows running at once. Also filmed in our new podcast studio is HTFC, hosted by Edgar Rodriguez and Patrick Deleon. Football, or soccer in America, is the most popular sport in the world. Across multiple leagues and cups, soccer is a year-round sport, and HTFC is your new source to stay updated. Also on Spotify, by the way, at HTFC. Outside of our 6-show roster, be sure to tune in to our other content, such as the Studio Days vlog, run by our vlog squad of Brianna St. Jean, Michaela Croker, Ashley Rowe, and Ben Huber. Make sure to follow us on our social medias like Instagram, Facebook, and X to stay updated on all HTFN news. Remember to subscribe right here on YouTube, leave a like and comment. And with that, I think we're ready for your next segment. I'm Nick Cohen. Thank you for your continued support, and back to your regularly scheduled programming.
All right, everyone. So we're back, and I'm laughing because this segment is going to be ridiculous. So Patrick and I, after the Nona Sports Show, shout out, we came up with the idea to make segment 2 this week about, controversial topics we don't agree on. So some intentionally.
Different opinions on some things.
Yes, different opinion is a perfect way to put it. We're going to start off with the first one now.
This is yours.
It is mine.
Okay.
It is mine. And I not proudly own it because, I want to see the U.S. men's national team do well. But my claim, get the sirens going.
What he's going to say is criminal, so yeah.
It's not.
Anyways,
it's not crazy at all.
Spit it out then.
The U.S. men's national team will not make a World Cup semifinal for the next 5 World Cups.
But think about it. 5 World Cups.
I know it's a long time. I know it's a long time.
20 years. We're talking about 20 years.
Absolutely.
You don't see that happening.
Okay. Listen.
You don't see that happening.
The only caveat there is to this, right? Because you cannot tell me that right now, the U.S. team now, although they're under Poch, although,
it'll happen next year.
The semifinal, Patrick.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I'm not saying we'll go and win the whole thing, but we'll make...
No.
Okay, I'll let you speak.
No,
I'll let you speak.
Listen.
I'll let you speak.
I'll give you 4 countries. I'll give you 4, right?
Okay.
Do you think the U.S. beats England?
Because,
yes or no?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There's no chance. I'm sorry. No chance.
No, we will.
Germany? No,
Probably not.
There is no debate.
Okay.
The U.S. will not beat Spain.
Okay, no. But we've done
Brazil?
it, but we've beat a prime Spain side before.
Okay, but that was...
But
that was
what?
a one-off Confederations game.
But think about it, that was literally the best Spain's team ever.
Sure, but that was one-off. Was that on the grand stage?
It still counts for something.
Sorry, who cares about the Confederations Cup?
It doesn't. Okay, yeah,
Who
sure.
cares?
But it doesn't
Exactly,
exist
thank
anymore.
you.
Sure. However, that was still 2009. The
Okay,
same Spain team
sure.
that won the 2010 World Cup.
Perfect, fantastic. Spain are back to
Not nearly
a similar level. They showed a very high level at the Euros. So so they're not beating England, they're not beating Germany, they're not beating Spain. I'm sorry. Brazil?
Yeah, because Brazil aren't good.
No, Gio, I'm sorry.
I'm
you just
sorry,
got offended.
Gio,
but
it's doable. You can't tell me
not.
it's not. You can't tell me that's not
I
winnable.
am telling you right now that it's not.
You can't tell me that's not winnable.
Oh my, the U.S. is going to beat Brazil.
Yes, we
I'm
can beat
supposed to be the
Brazil.
one with the hot take here. And
We can beat Brazil.
Oh my
That's doable.
Argentina.
Okay, probably not.
Okay.
I'll take the L there.
Thank you. Portugal?
Portugal, they're not that great either. I like Portugal, don't get me wrong. But when have they ever done anything impressive besides 2016 Euros?
That's fair. But right now, here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the strongest starting 11 the U.S. has at their disposal right now. That Pochettino has at his disposal. And you tell me how many world-class players there are. Matt Turner in goal.
Okay.
Off to a flying start, aren't we?
Listen to me. I hate that you have to bring that up because it feels like every other
there's my
year the
point.
goalkeeper position has always been one of the U.S.'s strongest suits. But I
Not
will
now.
say right now it's very weak.
Yeah.
But look at the rest of the roster. We have actually really good
continue
depth
going.
for once.
Let's continue going. Joe Scally at right back. I
Yes.
like Joe Scally. He's playing at a decent
Yeah, you
level in
got
Germany.
Des Scally and Anthony Robinson. Anthony Robinson, arguably one of the best left backs in the world.
I agree. He has been incredible for Fulham. Fantastic. Is a left back going to really win you games, though? I don't know. Center backs, Chris Richards and Tim Ream.
Mark McKenzie. Tim Ream's out of the conversation.
Are
So
you
do
sure?
not throw him in there. We
Are
have
you
Cameron
sure?
Carter-Vickers, Mark McKenzie, Austin Trusty, Chris Richards. Better than Tim Ream.
Oh, sure. Okay. Younger talent. But I'm sorry, I'm looking at that back line, and apart from the fullbacks, I'm looking at that. Okay, Chris Richards, fine.
Sure.
Fine.
Sure, he plays for a mid Crystal Palace.
McKenzie, bro?
Mark McKenzie.
Are we really getting excited over that? Are we getting excited over that? Are we saying
Better
Look,
than
listen.
you saying Tim Ream. At least
Fine.
be accurate with what you're saying.
fine? Tim Ream, but he's been in the. I wouldn't be surprised if he's included in the squad. Tim Ream.
I wouldn't either, but as a leadership role. But the thing is,
Sure.
I don't expect to see more of him. I don't think. I
Okay.
think his time with the USMNT
Is he going to
done.
get phased out? Sure.
He
but-
should get phased
But I'm
out.
sorry, but the other names you're
And
bringing
even
up to
if
me,
he does, I don't mind having him on the squad.
Patrick, we're talking about a World Cup semifinal.
I understand, but look at what Morocco did in 2022. Look
That
at
Morocco
what
team beats the U.S. now.
we beat them
When?
in 2023, I think, or a little bit. It was a little bit after the World Cup. We beat them 3-1.
Okay, so fine.
Look
But
at
then-
Costa Rica in 2014. Sure, they didn't make
Yeah.
the semifinal. They
Sure.
made it to the quarters though, and
What
they barely
happens-
lost against the Netherlands.
Okay, but we saw in Qatar thank you for bringing up the Netherlands. The U.S. come up against not the best
And
Netherlands
we
team
were
in the round
who
of
were we
16.
coached by? Who were we coached by?
Fine.
Mr. Berhalter himself, the bald man terrorist attacking coach, dude.
Listen, that's
Mr.
fine.
Berhalter. That was also one of the worst squads he could have had for that World Cup.
Hypothetically, though, put Poch in that seat. Does he beat the Netherlands?
He gets it done. He probably at least makes it more competitive than it already
With
than
that
it was.
team?
With that team, Poch wouldn't have made those terrible decisions in the first place. There was no need for including Jordan Morris, Christian Roldan, all those other mid guys in that World Cup squad. Are we serious?
On that night, I
we
don't
left
think
out
the U.S.
Ricardo Pepi. He was the only reason we made the World Cup.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm not defending Berhalter.
You know?
I mean, Berhalter was a complete.
So
just
that's a
dumpster
big
fire.
like asterisk on that.
Fine.
Because we had Berhalter as a
My
coach.
point is, when the U.S. come up against Europeans, elite,
Fair.
or even South America for that matter, I'm sorry, we are just not at that level, and there's no covering that. We can continue going in the team,
Okay, fair,
and I
fair.
love the midfield. I love how we're looking
Good, yeah.
from the defense up. Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie, fine, solid 2 in there. I'm not debating that. Yunus Musa,
Could do
Pulisic,
better. Yeah.
and Weah.
Mhm.
Would you say that's the strongest combination there?
Yes.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And then who are we putting up top? Pepe, Sargent,
Pepe Sargent. My only thing is
or
Pepe Sargent, I think, would be the only two realistic options at the 9.
okay.
And those are only two players I think that are capable of delivering when they need to, especially Ricardo Pepe.
Sure, he's
Especially
been great
Pepe.
when he wears the U.S. shirt. But Josh Sargent, he's playing for Norwich City.
I know. But
He's had an okay year in the championship.
okay.
He's had a solid year. Solid year. I'm sorry, I was selling Sargent short there.
He's been
had
great
a-
for Norwich.
He has, but we're talking about a mid-table championship level. And I'm telling you that the U.S. isn't going to make it to the semifinal with that. And I'm sorry, if Pulisic doesn't show up, who's showing up?
We'll be fine if Pulisic doesn't show up. Because think about it. You still have Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie.
Miston
I was about to say Meston McKennie. Weston McKennie at Juve, arguably their best player right now.
Yeah.
Tim Weah is also having a good season.
Yeah.
But for all these guys, right? A lot of them haven't even hit their prime yet. Next year is going to be the year. Next season is arguably going to be the season where most of these guys are finally entering that stage of their careers. They're going to put up their best numbers. We've seen Pulisic already do better than he did last year. And he had a great season with Milan last year.
Sure.
This year, also another great. Unfortunately, this Milan
Milan
team just
yeah,
sucks.
Exactly.
They're sitting, in 9th or 8th in Serie A. But that's not his fault. He's arguably, they're also their best player. And people will
listen.
refuse to see that.
The only caveat to this argument
Mm-hmm.
is that they want to expand the World Cup to include the whole world.
Okay, yeah, that's a whole
That is
different
the
topic.
only
but-
caveat that maybe into what's the next one going to be? 2030.
Yeah, they want to make
They
it
want to make it
64.
64.
That's a whole different
If you're
thing.
allowing the likes of Solomon Islands in, right? Then okay, yeah, we have a chance. Then I get excited. Even with 48
No,
teams,
but
Patrick, the
you're
US
saying in the next 20 years it's not going to happen. Do you
So, okay,
understand how
listen.
big the sport is, how fast it's changing in this country?
Sure.
That in 20 years we won't have a full
First
lineup of
all-
world-class.
First of all, we said hot take. Second of all,
Okay.
let's look at Belgium, for example, who, yes, they did make
Oh,
it to
yeah.
the semifinals, but everyone thought, oh, they're going to win. They're going to win the Euros. They're going to win the World Cup.
And they didn't.
And they didn't. And now they're regressing again. They hit a peak, the golden generation, and they didn't live up to it. The U.S., okay, sure. Maybe then in the next, what we're saying, 10 to 12 years, we have this group of players, right?
Oh, sorry, you're
10 to 12
asking me a
years?
question. I would say within 5, 6.
So okay, right.
By the next World Cup.
So then, after this cycle is done, we're gonna have a whole, not a
Oh.
whole new.
But you'll see a
But a new
lot more
rotation.
new faces
Right.
that are going to be at an even higher level.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I don't even
The
know
only-
how long. I don't even know how long we've gone on this. But the semifinal, Patrick,
It's
I'm telling you,
in 20
is
years, yes, it's doable.
the best four.
Yes. I don't be surprised if you see it happen next year.
I'm telling you right
Home
now. I'm
ground
telling you right now.
advantage.
Okay. I'm telling you. Oh yeah, the U.S. fans. I mean, I'm sorry, but we don't have that culture yet. We don't have that
When it
culture
comes
yet.
to the World Cup, everybody pays attention. Let's not act like nobody cares about the World Cup. Because
No,
even
no,
people
of
that don't
course,
watch soccer,
everyone starts-
they will watch
Sure.
the USA
Okay.
because it's the USA and we're hosting it.
Sure.
It's going to
Home
happen.
field advantage is not. I'm sorry, that is not going to push you over the line when you come up
It
against.
helps a
What-
lot.
Okay.
And
Talk,
it's going to happen. It's going
talk
We'll
to
come
me
back
when
to
the
this
U.S. plays
episode in a year.
Spain. Talk to me when the U.S. come up against Spain and we get spanked 5-0. Then you're gonna come to me. Oh, you were right. You were right. You were right. Gio,
All right,
move us
Gio.
on.
So,
I'm sorry.
next-
By the way, before we move on, I would love to see the U.S. lift the World
Yeah,
Cup,
yeah,
but
for sure.
I don't live in a
I'm not-
delusional world where the U.S. The World Cup is in the U.S. We're gonna win it all. I'm sorry.
And
I'm
I
not
don't-
buying it.
Actually, I'll keep my mouth shut right there. But the next question. So we got another topic rolling up for us. So Gio,
Move us on, Gio, because
What
Patrick
is-
thinks we're gonna win the World Cup.
I didn't say we're gonna win. I just said we're gonna make the semifinal. But
And we're not.
What's next on the agenda, Gio? What's the next topic that we're gonna talk about that we actually don't have differing opinions on? So
Oh, for a change.
for Jen.
So for the next topic, I want you guys
Yes.
to debate VAR. Is it helpful?
Ooh.
Is it not?
Okay.
Should it be revised? How
Just-
how do you guys think that's gonna work?
There's so much to unpack here,
Yes.
Patrick. Let me calm
More
down.
civil conversation. So I mean,
me
a
calm down.
great starting point, like we
Yeah.
were talking about in the first segment. Obviously, Atletico and Real Madrid. What we saw in the penalty shootout.
Wow.
What obviously the double touch, right? I mean, yes, in the video you can see. Actually, let's go to the next
Let's-
slide real quick so we can
let's
look
show-
at that.
Let's show that moment from the penalty
So
kick
let's
shootout.
stay right here real quick. So obviously UEFA, they put out this whole statement. I'll read it right here. Atletico de Madrid inquired with UEFA over the incident. So obviously Julian Alvarez with a double touch during the penalty kick shootout, which led to the disallowance of the kick from the penalty mark taken by Julian Alvarez at the end of yesterday's UEFA Champions League match against Real Madrid. Although minimal, the player made contact with the ball using his standing foot before kicking it, as shown in the attached video clip, which we'll get to in a second. Under the current rule, laws of the game, Law 14.1, the VAR had to call the referee, signaling that the goal should be disallowed. UEFA will enter discussions with FIFA and IFAB to determine whether the rule should be reviewed in cases where a double touch is clearly unintentional. So let's play the clip. Let's go to the
I
next
have a
one.
problem with this, Patrick. I do. Because as we'll see now,
Yes. So let's put it on the screen so everybody
Alvarez
can see.
steps up and he plants his landing foot.
Right.
Okay, yes, very close to the ball. And we see
it
the
pops up,
touch
yes.
initially before the shot is taken.
Right.
That is clear from this angle, which, by the way, we did not have this angle during the game.
During broadcast.
During the
yeah,
game,
this
and the
is straight
broadcast
from the VAR
angle, I'm
booth.
telling you, I
Did
mean,
no
you-
justice.
No, you
Nothing. You
cannot
can't tell.
tell. Even if, as much as you want to microscope it, as much as you want to show us the pixelated images, this angle, yes, there's no
Yes.
arguing that there's a first initial touch before the shot.
Yeah, there's no arguing with that.
However, there is no arguing either that shot goes in regardless.
I think he still scores.
Absolutely.
I don't think it makes any difference at all on the actual result of the penalty shootout either, because Atletico Madrid, they still missed other penalties.
Of course.
You know?
Of course.
This shot, in cases like this in general, I don't think it matters. I think it's obviously nobody means to accidentally touch it twice. He's clearly in the video, he slips at the end anyway. He loses his footing.
Yeah.
And it's not like the ball moves like necessarily like even off the mark.
It roll.
It literally just props up for like a millisecond and he makes contact with it immediately after. I don't think it matters.
I have a problem with that for the simple reason that such an incredible game of football.
Yes.
One of the best we've seen this season at the Metropolitano. And we're talking about this out of everything.
This is what it comes down to.
This is what gets the attention put on it. And so now, okay, we talk about VAR. Was VAR brought in for this? I don't think it was.
And so this is a whole conversation with VAR now. It's like, okay, how it's just micromanaging. What's the point of having a center? What's the point of having any referee on the field at that point? Because if everything you can just go and check regardless, there's no point in having referees right there. And it's also like, the whole idea of VAR, it's going to be used for a clear and obvious error. Is that a clear and obvious error that the referee missed?
Absolutely not.
No. So just let it go. But then it's like, it's just like, you have the technology. It's like, but like, this gets out. Like, it obviously happened. But, the referee, whatever. Then it just there's no winning. There's no winning.
First mistake they made. Clear and obvious. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Had they never said that from the very beginning, I think everybody's perception would have been a lot different.
Changes completely. And the referees aren't put in the position that they always have that in the back of their mind. Oh, wait, was this clear and obvious? Right. Should I listen to the VAR? Because that's another problem. When the referees go to the monitor,
they should just have the final say regardless. They don't have to.
Exactly.
Clear and obvious. Clear and obvious to me is like, okay, a guy is clearly like 10 feet off sides and the referee just missed it.
Right.
Okay, that's obvious. He was obviously off sides, right? It's like if I was standing here and the defense was on the other side of the, that's obvious. Right. Everybody in the stadium will see that. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking about inches, millimeters, what are we doing? No. What are we doing? Like, let's be honest. What are we doing with ourselves here?
It's crazy. I think it's gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
VAR,
changes need to be made.
The technology is not the problem.
No, it's just how it's being used.
It's how it's being used, and at some points, the people using it.
Of course.
We have to also bring that under the limelight if we're talking about the problems that VAR has, the problems that have come with VAR, right? A little bit more on the rule. That has to be clarified. There have to be changes.
But then again, you will always fall.
There's always going to be blurry lines. Yeah. There's always going to be blurry lines. But as long as it's worded in a way that maybe, unless there's a considerable, or I like what you brought up, it doesn't move off the mark.
It doesn't move off the mark. But then you're going to draw lines at
of course. I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. But there has to be clarification. Because that ball's trajectory, Alvarez hit that ball true enough that Courtois isn't reaching it regardless of whether there was a tiny little touch before.
He was not getting it.
He wasn't getting it. So you're telling me that the goal is going to be disallowed? And I feel bad for the referees in this circumstance because they have no option.
Right.
The law is the law, and they have to follow it. Right. If they allow this goal, I don't think anyone has a problem with it.
No, because I still think Madrid still would have won anyway. Right. So why does it matter?
Right. But again, that goal goes in. It's counted. More pressure is added to Real Madrid. Who knows what happens in it? Like, no one knows. Right. At that point, we're just guessing. Right. So. I don't know. Although I could care less who would have won that match. Although we do now face Real Madrid in the next
but I think
it's that
we could go on forever about that.
We could.
But let's move on because we're running out of time and I really want to get to this next point.
We're running out of time and we have left the most atrocious claim for the end. If you thought I was bad, wait for this.
Let me get to this. All right, this is more like a personal belief of mine. Personally, don't take anything I say personally.
Oof.
Okay.
I'll try.
I personally think that European soccer, specifically when we're talking about like league play, Champions League is kind of the exception, but even still, like European soccer can be boring. It is boring. It's not that enjoyable to watch. No. No, listen
how
to
many
me. Listen,
police
listen,
officers do we have on
listen,
the way, Brian?
listen to me. Listen.
Wait. Before you start, and I'll let you speak. You already backtracked on your argument.
How?
Because Champions League is European football, isn't it?
Well, that's what I said, with the exception slightly of Champions
So
League.
you're already backtracking.
Not really.
You're already
I
backtracking.
specified where we're talking about leagues.
Okay, please provide reasoning. Please.
Again, this is personally.
Sure.
I
fine.
like my
I respect
European
it.
teams. The best players, they all play in Europe. Everybody knows that. The best quality, I'm not talking about quality though. That's the thing. I'm not talking about quality of play. Yes, everybody knows the best players, they're all in Europe. We get that. You know, the best clubs, the biggest clubs.
That goes without
Yes,
saying.
nobody's debating that. I'm not that crazy to debate that.
Okay.
However, quality does not necessarily equate to watchability for me. I don't really care about that. Watch.
That's perfect timing for
I
that.
don't really care about it.
I think the two go hand in
I
hand.
have to think. Look, when you have a brain, right? Again, don't take this personally, but I'll never understand people that only care or watch European football, because when you decide to kind of just grow out of that space and you like to, and just look at all this other stuff across the world, your brain, your mind will open up.
Oh, sure.
I sound like a conspiracy. But it's like your mind will open up to realize European football, it's not all that. There's so much more engaging stuff out there. I have found more enjoyment, again, watching MLS, watching the J League, watching the A League, paying attention to the K League, the Korea. Like, I'll go through the list of...
What's next? Bangladesh first division?
No, but like, I will go through...
next?
I will go, like, yes, I like teams in Europe. Don't get, like, Dortmund is one of my favorite teams. But the thing is, I will go through the list of teams that I actually pay attention to. So Orlando City, obviously, Orlando Pride in the NWSL. Here locally, that I actually have a connection to because I can go and watch the game. I'm not,
Right.
like, let's be real. I'm probably never. It's the chances of me seeing some of these teams are really low, right? In person. Cerezo Osaka, obviously. I mean, I went to Japan. I caught a game. I've seen other J League games in Japan as well.
You went to Asia?
Right. So
Why not Europe?
Because, I mean, that was just a trip. That's just a different story. That was
I'm
just
saying it's possible. I'm saying it's possible.
No. Nara Club in Japan as well. 3rd division, by the way. Kanazawa, 3rd division in Japan, by the way.
Good.
Dortmund, obviously. River Plate. I love my River Plate in South America, but I even find them more enjoyable to watch than anything in Europe. Jeonbuk Hyundai, Korea.
Wow.
They just got knocked out of Asian Champions League 2. Anyways, Halifax
Condolences.
Wanderers in Canada, because I've been to Halifax. And it's
You know
it's
what?
fun. Forward Madison USL 1.
Sure.
I
Oh,
I get
Flamingo?
more enjoyment watching the youth teams at Nona than I do in Europe.
You know what?
You know how crazy that is?
I-
Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I have more of a connection to all of these teams in some way or another than I do with anything in Europe. And we were also talking about atmosphere. I think atmosphere in Europe is dead. With the very exception of a couple clubs. Liverpool.
Wow, you are coming in with the punches.
Liverpool, great. Anfield's always great.
Absolutely.
Dortmund, Signal Iduna, always great.
Yeah.
But even still, what's after that?
What's after that?
Not the Emirates. Like,
Hey, you've never.
there. Like,
you
I'm sorry.
Clearly, have never seen North London
Real Madrid
but
is
that's not
always
the
one of
point.
the biggest teams. But even still, their atmosphere kind of blows. Camp Nou, not the same as it was 10 years ago.
No,
You know?
no.
But here's another, atmosphere and culture is everything. Yes, all these cities, these countries, they live, they breathe. It's their entire life.
yeah.
But other countries do it better. Other places in the world do it better, and that's what attracts me more to that.
You know what?
So for me, watching soccer in Europe, it's boring. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care
It's
about
boring. I don't.
like,
Okay.
it's boring because I think about all of this as a whole. This all makes the game watchable. If you have a crappy atmosphere, I'm not going to watch it. Sorry. Half of the Champions League games, terrible atmosphere until you get to like the quarterfinals. Sorry. That's the reality of it. And Champions
Okay.
League is like as good as it gets,
Hold on.
personally.
Let me stop you there. Let me
Mm-hmm.
stop you there because I'm gonna preface this with saying I completely agree what you're
Right.
saying. I think more people should pay attention to those leagues. I think I sent you the reel about the Australian third league.
I'm an advocate, clearly, because I've talked about a
Absolutely.
lot of
And you
the
know
niche
what?
stuff on
And
the
you know
here.
what? I applaud you for that because
Right.
not enough people pay attention to outside of Europe. I completely agree with you on that. However, why are we putting atmosphere ahead
That
of
makes
the
the whole
product on the field?
experience. That's part of the experience.
That's part of the experience, but you're going there to watch the football match.
But that's part of. So you want okay? So you would be okay watching a football match if everybody's just sitting there quiet and just
You know
clapping.
what? If the quality is good, I'll
No,
sit.
that's the
I
worst
will
thing.
happily
I would
sit and watch
happily.
a fantastic match of football in silence.
That's the
I
worst thing I've
underst-
ever heard.
I understand
No,
the
no,
atmosphere
no.
adds.
No,
And
the
is one of the
atmosphere
most
is
crucial
part of-
elements.
Yes, it's the most important thing.
But then we're under.
The fans are the most important
we are.
thing.
But then we're undermining the quality of the play.
Well, again, I'm not saying the quality. Like, I'm not talking about quality of play, because yes, again, we all agree the best players they play in Europe. That's without a doubt. That's without a doubt.
So
But
already,
everything else makes this happen. Because you're telling me you would enjoy watching Arsenal if like everybody, if you know, okay, he's bringing up like pictures and stuff, but like an Arsenal tifo, like guess what? That would not happen without people and the culture and the fans. That makes such a great atmosphere for the games, and that's what makes the games watchable. Did you ever watch like MLS COVID
I
MLS?
watched everything during COVID.
Everything COVID.
It
Do you know
was-
how boring that
wasn't
was?
enjoyable. I'm not look.
That's a great
I'm
thing.
not saying I prefer it, but I'm saying that okay, yes, as much as the atmosphere adds to it,
Right.
Since that is what you've decided to focus on, which I
Mostly,
agree.
yeah.
I mean, I see the videos of River, for example, and Boca and whatever club
Anywhere else,
in South
yeah.
America. It's ridiculous. I can't imagine that. Even San Lorenzo in Argentina, I think I watched recently. But that for me is not more important than the football that I'm going
I don't
to go
care
watch.
personally. Again, that's why I say it's a personal belief of mine. I don't care so much for quality of football. Rather,
Really?
I don't, because it's all soccer. It's all the same. I will enjoy it regardless. The atmosphere is what makes it the best. So that's why I think European soccer, in comparison to a lot of other places, it's boring. Like, it's not fun to watch because nobody's losing their minds. Nobody's actively getting hurt in the stands. You know, does that make sense? you know,
All right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and like a
No, of
fun,
course,
like peaceful man, of course. But it's like,
Look.
there's, it. Do you see what I'm trying to say though? I would
see
much
what you're
rather go
saying.
to like Africa. I'd rather go to Morocco, Casablanca. Sure, nobody talks about that team, but the atmosphere they have isn't. I'd rather enjoy that because that'll be a core memory, not me necessarily going to watch. I don't know, Manchester City, Arsenal in the Prem. I wouldn't care about that
Really?
personally.
Wow. Look, I think that is
That makes
an honest opinion, which I absolutely
And-
admire from you. But I don't think you can. So you tell me you would turn down.
I'm not
Let me put
saying
it
I would
that.
do it. Oh, no.
Oh,
No.
I
That's not.
unlocked you right
No.
there, huh?
That's not what we're going at.
So
I'm
it's
just
not
saying.
boring.
It's
I
not
think we have
boring.
to find a different word than boring.
Okay, fair enough. However, I would get more enjoyment out of a lot of other things because I like to look at other things as a whole. Aside, quality aside,
Sure.
off the pitch,
Sure.
or just talking about clubs, fans, all that stuff. There's so many more enjoyable things. I'm not saying this is bad. Like, all of this is bad. I'm just saying, if you really like soccer, if you really enjoy it, you will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. There is.
And you won't just focus on La Liga, Bundesliga,
I
Prem.
agree. I
my
agree.
point.
That is not the whole world. European football is not the whole world, and there is many different things to tap into. I completely get that. But leading off with it's boring, I think
It can be.
I don't know.
I can't tell
about
you
that.
how often I actually do watch like
So
anything
you're-
besides like Champions League.
And I know we're
and
way
Prem.
over time. Sorry about
It's
that.
okay because this needs to be out there.
And by the way, let us know what you guys think because this is definitely a conversation that has to be had, right?
And
But-
I didn't even get to most of my points, by the way.
Oh, continue then.
No,
Let-
'cause
let
we're
me not
running-
stop.
we're running out of
Oh,
time.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that's just a part of it. Like, I fully believe that there's so much more enjoyable stuff out there to watch and pay attention to, even if you can't watch, to just pay attention to, that you would feel more connected.
Let me just throw something in there.
Yeah.
La Liga title race.
Mhm.
That's not boring, is it?
Yeah, no, we've talked about it. It's enjoyable. But we're just talking about the quality on the field at the end of the day.
But you're telling me the.
But am I gonna am I gonna care about that in a couple months from now? No.
Most European atmospheres are
Don't
decent.
get- Decent.
decent.
There's better.
Or lively.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
there's
saying
better.
in England you're going to get the same experience as you do in I don't know.
I mean, every country's different. Every
in a
club's
random
different.
other country. But I think German fan culture, you have to
Oh
look
yeah,
at that.
Germany is up there.
Incredible.
That's like the one place I
Incredible.
will probably leave out of this
France,
conversation.
I mean, you go to Marseille, for example, those fans, if you want that ultra experience, if you want that
But now,
sort
if we
of
throw
South
in,
American
if we
vibe,
throw in quality on the field, it's always PSG winning, so it's boring.
sure, no, but
There's nothing
but
interesting.
I thought we were. Wait,
No, no.
I thought we weren't talking
That's-
about the
well,
quality on the field.
For that first part, atmosphere. Now, if we throw that in the mix, everything gets diluted more. Because like nobody pays attention. I don't care about French football
Me neither.
because it's boring.
Clearly, I'm not gonna lie to you. Me neither. But if we're talking about atmosphere, you can't leave those out. And guess where that's in? That's Europe.
Yeah, but it's not. I've seen better. Go to anywhere in South America. I promise you. Almost every single team
Sure, but
anywhere else.
Again,
in
it goes
South
down to
America.
culture. It goes down to culture. In South America, a football match is more of a celebration.
There
a
you
party.
go. A celebration.
It's a party. In Europe, I agree with you. It might
It's
be
still,
more
it's
of a.
still intense because they live it and breathe it over there.
Yeah.
For sure. But it doesn't touch anything else like you would see in South America, even Asia.
But that does not equate to European football being boring.
It does. Because it adds so much to it. It
I don't
adds
think
so
so,
much to it.
Patrick.
It
I don't know.
adds so much
I don't
life
know.
into it.
If we find a different word, thank you, Brian.
But I will stick
to
at boring because it bores me sometimes.
I don't know.
Until you're right. Maybe we can find a better word.
And maybe I would agree with you.
But
you know what? I'll say
it
it.
can
I
be boring.
agree with you.
It can be
If
boring.
we're looking at just atmosphere, sure, Europe probably lags behind. But I did not expect you to put that ahead of what we're watching on the pitch. And you're not going to find
It makes a big difference.
you're not going to find the likes of Mbappe and Haaland and Lewandowski, and I can go on for years
Mhm.
anywhere else.
Okay.
And for
But
me,
do all these other fans of these other teams care though? If that makes sense. Like, sure, you're never gonna find those quality
again,
of
it goes
guys
to
in
mentality.
different
It goes to
places.
mentality.
Exactly. It's just
It goes to how
that's
you
just what I
approach the
think.
game.
I'm not picky enough to care about who is on my team because I know I've seen terrible players in my lifetime.
Sure.
I've
And we
lived
will
I've
continue
lived
to-
through it and I
we
will continue.
to.
But it doesn't bother me because I'm enjoying it. It's something I can especially if it's something I can personally connect to. I will enjoy it way more.
And I respect that. I respect that.
Like-
I thought
Almost all the teams I like suck for a reason. But I like all of them because of very personal reasons.
Okay. Okay. And I agree. Hey, look. Props to you for bringing that up. I think, my goodness, we could go on for hours about that, about
There's so
fan
much
culture,
more.
about my goodness. But, I think it had to be said. I think the
Personally-
segment was
personal belief.
necessary. We vented. We let a lot out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, leave us your opinions down below. But from Patrick, from myself, from Danny V, we have to cut it short or else we'll be here until, well, you got class in 20 minutes. We'll be here until the sun goes down. But again, from the
Fun
podcast
segment.
studio, it was absolutely, we need more of that. Trivia may be coming up potentially.
Potentially.
More flares going off in the podcast room. But from us here on the HTFC crew, we'll see you next week. Stay tuned. Take care.
Spring break next week.
That's
Week
right.
after.
That's right. That's right. Week after. Spring break.
after.
Enjoy your break. We'll see you on the one after.